Hi, this is Dan again from CleanGuru, and today I promised you that we would take a little bit of a walk down memory lane as far as Tony and I and our cleaning business that we kind of got going back in 1987, and the name changes, the company name changes that we went through. There weren't a lot of them, but there were a couple, and I thought I'd show you that. And the reason for that is we get a lot of calls at the office. We get some emails talking about, should I change the name of my company? Should I change the name of my cleaning business? Because we now would like it to be more professional. We'd like it to reflect the fact that maybe we're offering green cleaning now, or we clean medical buildings. So folks want to change their names over the years, and we think it's a good idea. We don't recommend people do it an awful lot because you do want to send out a consistent, steady, branded image of yourself, and your company name is a big part of that. So you don't want to do it recklessly, but there may be times strategically that it's a good idea. So we thought we'd take a look at this, and one of the fun things we'd like to do real quick is, I'll show you this again. Remember, my wife Jennifer made up this board for Tony and I, and it was really just a reflection of posting several of the business cards that we had over the years. What I'll do is I'll set this down and we'll try to give you a better shot of each one of these as we go through. Before Tony and I even got involved, the first card I think says Jim's Janitor Service, and that's what it was even before we got there. But then in 1987, by the time we got there, I believe they had just kind of gotten new business cards, and it was with the owner now, it was Jim's Cleaning Service. And so that was kind of a neat thing, but when Tony and I got involved, we just didn't want to continue on with Dan and Tony owning Jim's Cleaning Service. So we felt we could come up with a name to get us a good fresh start, professional name that reflected this new approach. So we came up with Toledo Commercial Cleaning. And the reason we did that is because this was the area we were servicing, Toledo and the surrounding areas. And then also the fact that it was commercial cleaning, we were not doing residential cleaning. And then we just thought it would be a good move for us. Now, I got to tell you, and this is one of the things I'd like to touch on, is you do have to check. I'd recommend you do need to check with the states where you're going to be doing business, because that name may not be available. You need to check the availability. I believe it's with the Secretary of State's department, but every office, but every state may be different. But every state where you're doing business, you need to be checking to see if that name is available, and then you can register, if that's possible, if they're available, register that name in those states. So there's a little bit of expense, a little bit of challenge involved, but it can be well worth it. So we changed our name to Toledo Commercial Cleaning. And on the one business card, by the way, can you see we had a logo of some sort with like a pyramid? And I can remember, I think we just bought a couple of beers for a friend of ours who was kind of a graphic designer, and he helped us come up with that. And boy, were we proud when we had this little pyramid next to Toledo Commercial Cleaning. And then I think we have another card that's a white business card with Toledo Commercial Cleaning and a different font. And that went well. And again, this reflected our company for a long time. And we were cleaning all kinds of commercial buildings in the Toledo area, and it went fine. Eventually, we wanted to change that because we were growing so much that we were starting to clean areas outside of Toledo, kind of far out of Toledo. And when we went out there, they might ask, hey, how can you make sure I'm going to be supervised and hired and make sure I'm going to be taken care of if you're way there in Toledo? So rather than raise that as an objection, we decided maybe we should make a couple changes to our name. Number one, take out the restriction of Toledo. And secondly, take out the restriction of commercial. Because we were considering getting into residential carpet cleaning, maybe residential cleaning, and some other things. So we said, let's go a little bit more generic and take away the geographic restriction. We eventually, as you can see, settled in on Clean Care Incorporated is what we went with. And we were very pleased with that, and we came up with business cards that you can see there. And it went just great. And so ultimately until December of 2008, when we sold our company, our name for our company was Clean Care Incorporated. Now, the reason I mention this is just to touch base on a couple things. It is possible to do. Now, we only did it twice, right? We went from Jim's Cleaning Service to Toledo Commercial Cleaning to Clean Care Incorporated. And we just think it's a good idea to be very thoughtful when you make the change, because you don't want to be changing your image all the time. And there are some legalities and expense to it. Speaking of which, that's the other thing real quick. You do have to check with the states you're doing business in to see if they're available. You'd have to then register them. And then of course there's the expense of if you use forms, so depending on invoices and letterhead and business cards, that's another consideration. And then the last thing too is this. Folks do worry, I think, if they change their name, will their customer think that there's some kind of a problem? It's like a window of vulnerability. Will they be unsettled or upset if we change our name? We tried to turn it around. We tried to, when we changed our name, make a big point of saying, listen, we're going to be changing our name to this, but it's the same ownership, it's the same supervisors, it's our same company. We just are looking forward to growing because we're doing so well. We're looking to expand, and we wanted to upgrade our image. So we tried to turn that around and make it a very positive thing. So anyway, that's it for today's talk on this. I hope you enjoyed that. And again, it can be a good idea to do it. Just take some time to think about it before you do and consider all the alternatives. Next time, what I want to talk about is one of the biggest hot potatoes in commercial cleaning as far as we're concerned. And I'm not going to tell you any more about it than that. It's just a hot potato, and depending on how you handle it, it can be a terrible thing, or it can be really a great thing. And we'll talk about that next time. Until then, remember that you can do this. You really can.